That Saturday, which was about a week and a half before Halloween, we couldn't play PUBG. We didn't have enough data, so we decided to go hiking to Dave's instead. On the way, we stopped at a place called Old Johnson's Swedish restaurant. It was a popular tourist trap that was known for having goats on its roof. We'd often joked about climbing up and taking those goats down. Some people say the goats are actually alpacas, but on this day, neither of us cared about the goats. We were inside buying soda pop and making jokes about how the restaurant had goats on its roof. Then we went outside, and that's when we saw him. He wasn't actually right in front of us. We actually saw him across the parking lot. He looked like Pennywise, and he wasn't making any effort to hide. He was actually looking at us and smiling under his hat, which had a pom-pom on top. We didn't see his face clearly, but whatever it was horrifying. All of us had this feeling at the same time, this pure terror that was unlike anything we'd ever experienced. It's hard to describe, but it was like we understood that if he wanted us dead, he could kill us instantly without even breaking a sweat. That might sound dramatic, and I'm sure it is, but I think that this is the best description of what we felt. After just standing there for a moment, he ran off into the trees. So, naturally, we went after him. We followed him into the woods and we shouted and screamed, but he was gone. He was simply not there anymore, and we never saw him again. Well, we didn't realize that at the time, but we never saw him again. I do know that fact now, and maybe I should have mentioned that sooner. But anyway, we thought we'd lost him, so we started to head back to the road to get to Dave's house. As we walked along a path, though, we saw a sign. It said something to the effect of, "Keep out, private property." We knew that we were close to Dave's house, so we didn't think much of it. But as we approached the gate, we noticed that there was already a person on the other side. And it was him. He was already watching us and gesturing for us to open the gate. He smiled. His teeth were awful, and he said, "Come play with me," in a voice that sounded exactly like Pennywise. But the scariest part was that he had a knife in one hand. He showed it to us and swung it so fast that we barely saw it happen. Then the blade sliced through the wire mesh netting of the fence. He stuck his arm through the opening and tried to grab at me. I backed away, and he slipped and fell onto the other side. When he did, we could finally see his face, and it was disgusting. He had orange skin, red hair, a big nose, white makeup everywhere, and his eyes were black holes. He seemed to look straight through me. His smile revealed sharp yellow teeth, and he spat something on the ground. He yelled, "You can't hide from me," and then he ran into the woods. I've never seen a creature move that fast. He must have run about 30 feet in less than a second, and he disappeared behind some trees. We turned to leave, but when we did, we saw another sign that said, "Beware of dog." We turned back and saw that the creature was standing there looking at us. Then it walked off, and we never saw it again. That day, or so we thought, we hurried back to the restaurant to wait for the police. We told them everything, but they still didn't seem convinced. They were skeptical about the whole thing, which disappointed us. That was fine. We were happy to have the cops there just in case. Besides, we were kind of freaked out, so we thought it would be best if they waited around. While we were waiting for the police, we ordered fish and chips. One of the employees dropped our food off and whispered that she'd seen the creature that day too, and she agreed that it was freaky. Then the cops arrived, and the woman who waited on us started talking to the officers. We sat in silence for a moment, and nobody else came into the restaurant. And that's when the power went out. The cops were discussing whether or not they should follow us home when the lights flickered back on. It was dark outside now, and we were kind of relieved to have the police escort us home. As we left, the woman who brought us our food was in tears. She kept saying, I'm sorry," but she wouldn't explain why. We shrugged it off and left. I did glance back at the restaurant as we drove off, but there was nothing to see. The next morning, the news broke that many pets in the area had been found slaughtered. That's when the police decided that we needed protection. That evening, two sheriff's deputies rode in the car with us as we drove to Dave's house, and we weren't allowed to go anywhere else. In retrospect, I think that they were afraid that we'd try to attack one of the clowns, which we probably would have. They also suggested that we stay at Dave's house, but that was a bad idea. Not only did we know that the clowns were in the immediate area, but we didn't want to intrude on Dave's family. They were super nice, though, and let us stay in the basement anyway. Later that night, we watched the TV coverage of the clown sightings, and for a brief time, we felt like we were safer. Then the power went out again, and we heard screams in the basement window. We all just stared at each other for a moment before the cops said that they'd check it out. Meanwhile, we locked the basement door and hid under a table. Maybe we were overreacting, but better safe than sorry, right? About an hour later, one of the deputies returned to the basement. He was pale and shaking, which wasn't exactly encouraging. He told us that he'd investigated the noise and found nothing. He admitted that it was weird that the power keeps going out, and that someone keeps making those kinds of noises, but he assured us that we were safe. Still, I think he secretly thought that we were nuts. When he went to investigate, he didn't find anything because they weren't there anymore. They were never there anymore, not in the daytime anyway. For a few weeks after that, we saw them at night, occasionally. They even came to our cars, but we never saw them during the day, and the sightings stopped in November. We were extremely lucky to never have been taken. The fear still lingers in our town today. While the sightings stopped after 2017, people still avoid walking around at night, and the clown sightings remain in the back of everybody's minds. Since that time, 3 of us moved away, and we rarely speak anymore. The ones who stayed behind still see things. It's like the creatures prey on our fear, and they use that against us. I mean, they make us afraid to go outside at night, and then they come out and scare us. I'm trying to help others understand what happened. We all saw things that we can't easily explain away. We know what happened. We just need others to believe us, but they don't. If I could go back, I'd find the source of the sightings. But I'm never going back to Bailey's Harbor, ever. Now here's what I found out. First off, the clown stuff has been going on for a long time. There was one incident that I learned about that occurred in 1864 in Wisconsin. So it's clear that this crap has been happening in Wisconsin since at least the mid-1800s. I don't know why it happens, but I think that it's connected with something ancient. What I suspect is that the creatures know about me, and they're hiding. I don't think that anybody else knows about them either, but I know that they know about me. I know that they're out there, and I know that they're coming for me. I hope that they don't find me. I feel like the world's never gonna understand what happened in 2017, and I hope they never try to find out. I'd rather die trying to protect myself than let them take me. But it won't matter anyway because they'll win.